So appreciate having me on the show. Thanks, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So beginning, why don't we just go ahead and tell me who you are, what you are, where you came from, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man, I'll jump right in, keep the initial part short, and you guys can take it where you'd like. My name is Aaron Hageman. I'm the owner and CEO of Delivery Drivers Incorporated. It's affectionately known as DDI. My company, we're in Southern California in Orange County, again, Irvine specifically for what it's worth there. But we run our program for human resources support for 1099 driver networks for 25 years now as we head into 2021. And we do it nationwide. So we support lots of different delivery programs as a third-party HR partner. And candidly, guys, in a nutshell, we're in DDI, my company, we're here to make sure that it's done right. We look at the driver first. I was a driver in college, 1099 driver. Half of my senior staff are all drivers at some point in our careers. And it's really, we support the freedom and independence, and it's about supporting the drivers and the businesses that we work with, lots of different types of companies, on running these 1099 programs right.
Okay. Well, so let me jump right into that because I have, a question on that, Aaron. So a lot of our listeners and so we are in the West Michigan market here, right? So this is a medium-sized market, and most of our drivers here are, not completely new to the game, but it definitely came on to the whole driving area when Uber and Lyft kind of entered the market here. So you've been doing this for 25 years, and you keep saying that this is you're supporting the HR for the driver. What does that mean in layman's terms? So if you have John Doe coming in here and he say, "Hey, I've been driving Uber now for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. What can you do? What can DDI do for me that's going to help my business? That's going to help my growth in the gig economy if I want to continue doing driving?"
Yeah, it's a great question. I think in a word, it starts with education. And one of the things we're here to do, and we think about things from an HR standpoint, as I've said, and looking at the business side of being a 1099 driver.
Yep.
But we talk to probably 75% of the drivers that we talk to that say, hey, we're interested in delivering these groceries. We're interested in doing rideshare over here, whatever the different program is in their area. Most 75%, 2/3 at least, are new. And so we spend a lot of time going through education. It's a big part of what we do. We have lots of resources at our website at ddiwork.com and other things like that we're happy to offer to the drivers right now. And what do I mean by education? So there's some entrepreneurial training. I think about it as a business owner and as a really 1099 entrepreneur. It's about what does that mean to be self-employed? And so let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about advertising yourself. A big one that's a hit for the drivers, and you guys probably will get this, is your Bill of Rights. But I love to tell you, here is your rights, your 1099 driverpreneur Bill of Rights, right? And that Bill of Rights often, as you guys probably know, is going to change. You're in Michigan. I'm in California. We got clients over in Mississippi. And each state's going to talk about, and, nuancedly, is that a word? Nuancedly? In a nuanced way, define 1099 status, right? Yep. And so what are your rights? Can you do this? Can you set your own schedule? If Uber does this. What was one of the shows you guys did, or a conversation I think I heard where somebody was, where we talked about Uber getting fired over, driver's ratings and controlling drivers, or Uber got sued over terminating a driver over ratings. And these became conversations as control and this and that. So what are the rights for the driver? Is that an appropriate lawsuit? Looking at it from the 1099 driver's Bill of Rights standpoint. So these are the types of things that we'd love to talk to drivers about. But we can get, into taxes and into accounting, into marketing, and, those things. But a lot of it is about your rules and, what can I do? What can I not do? Stuff like that.
So once you're done talking to them about their rights, if they have a case, what more supportive can you be at that? Can you go in and then help with a potential lawsuit or next step or anything like that? How does that work?
I don't know. I don't think I'm not a litigious guy versus a solutions guy. Personally, we're always here to help support everybody. But I try to look at, what's the issues? How do we look at this? What's the partner company? And can we look at this? Is there a room for improvement in the relation? Maybe it's operational. Maybe the company just doesn't know the rules. Maybe they need to do that. But regardless, we're always here for the one-on-one driver. And then, when the opportunities come to get involved and maybe present solutions, that's usually where we fit in at DDI.
Well, one of the things with the Prop 22, while we wanted everyone to vote yes, one of the things, you bring up about drivers getting fired it's like, it would be kind of nice to have a little protection. You know what I mean? But I also want my freedom too. So it's kind of one of those weird things of like,
it's that trade-off.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, because if you're a W-2 employee, you get fired. Yeah, you're at will. But if it's a wrongful termination, you do have some recourse in the legal aspect. You don't really have that with Uber and Lyft.
I think that's somewhat of a misnomer. I saw a really crazy ad living in California where I got a lot of the advertisements. I know you guys shared some on your show. And it was one of the ones that was like, Uber's trying to avoid their need to avoid sexual discrimination and sexual harassment laws. It was like an ad geared towards, female drivers.
Yeah.
And saying no on 22 because you'll be protected if you're an employee. And things like that aren't true because they can still sexually discriminate against a 1099 worker. Right. And you can still sue them for that. You can still have a wrongful termination. At my company, we've been involved in supporting, whether documentation or otherwise, wrongful termination claims around discriminated against as a 1099 driver, or once there was an anti-Semitic claim, and turned out not to be the case, of course, but where the driver said, hey, this is a wrongful termination. I know I'm 1099, but this is why, and it's not fair. And sometimes that's still fair. So it's just understanding how do we execute our rights within the construct of these rules versus these rules. That's how I think about it.
Very cool. So again, let's go back to John Doe. So he's driving in the West Michigan market right now. How does he? What does he have to? Let me put this. How does he get access to the DDI network, to the DDI resources? Is there a cost for that, or is that something you're just giving out because you're a friend and you're nice, or how is that?
No, a lot of the resources we have in terms of like placement and things like that, actually to the driver are geared towards a zero cost. I am not, from a business standpoint, I hate being nickel and dimed.
Sure.
We don't do it on that side to our side. So one of the first things first is a driver calls us and, our question is, hey, Jason, where do you live? They say, I live in Grand Rapids. You're like, awesome. Let's take a look. What kind of car do you have? What kind of work do you want to do? What's in our network active? What's in our network not active? Just we can keep an eye out for you. We can create a profile, things like that. In the meantime, you can have access to the platform and do that. We basically, we only end up getting money on the backside of this if the driver gets engaged, right?
Okay.
And so we have some sort of retail partner over here. Maybe it's Walmart doing groceries, or maybe it's, Best Buy delivering electronics, or maybe a restaurant partner. It doesn't really matter. There's all kinds of different things. And at the end of the day, our platform lets the driver, once they access it, and they don't have to pay for that, basically be able to match and to the partners they want.
So you're essentially the Uber.
What do you mean?
You're not. You become the matching partner between getting the gig to the driver and getting the job done.
Yeah, I really think of myself as the third party here. Like DDI, we're the labor buddy. I hate that. Don't. Oh man, it's recorded. Can't take it back. No, but we're literally the labor partner here to everybody. And so I think of Prop 22, and my job now becomes all my California clients, drivers and companies, to say, okay, what are the new rules? Let me help you abide by them. Let me make sure that, I take your daily earnings. Let me run it through the cost calculators against minimum wage plus 20% in your local jurisdiction. How many miles did you drive? I'll make sure our system collects the data points, and we run your accounting for you, give you your 1099 statements, all your P&Ls for your taxes at the end of the year, everything you need. We're just built to do all of this right, from an onboarding, accounting, and even some of the risk management insurance programs correctly.
So they are actually they are contract workers for DDI.
Yeah, it depends. We have different programs. Sometimes it might be a direct relationship. We're going doing that, but it's usually not with us. We're usually simply, if I were to explain it, probably referring you to a partner in our network in your city. We'll say, you live in San Diego. Here's 8 partners. You like 3 of them? Let me introduce you through our app.
Okay, so for a driver that's just doing, let's say, Lyft, you don't really support that as far as, or do you? You're just not getting any money on the back end because they're only doing Lyft, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, no, like Lyft is not an active partner to ours,
right,
in this case, right? But no, we still have resources for that driver. Maybe they're coming in here. They need some of the tax resources. There's tons of stuff available on our website. Again, it's ddiwork.com. So drivers go there. They get access to that. But we can also look into the networks. There's possibly, very likely, more jobs if they're looking for other gigs and some of these things as well. We do have some insurance products and things like that. Just depends. In this case, maybe what the drivers are after and what they might individually.
Okay.
So as far as the Grand Rapids market, do you have any partners here?
Oh man, I should have looked into that one before I got on your guys' show.
You can let us know later.
I should chat my assistant right now. Is anybody watching the show? Like, listen, yeah. But no, we actually do have partners all over Michigan. I'm happy to follow up. I'd have to look into specifically, the area. It's everything from automotive delivery we support to grocery to food to whatever.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are trying to, when we first started this podcast in 2017, it was just rideshare. I mean, it wasn't really anything else. And obviously we actually rebranded. We were the GR Rideshare Adventures and rebranded to the gig economy just because there's so many more gigs. So, and as a full-time gig worker in the winter, I will be happy to know about any more extra gigs out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I got you guys back on that one for sure.
No, that's definitely one thing that we're talking about a lot here, particularly because of course, COVID. So Michigan has always been, or Grand Rapids has always been just a saturated market when it comes to rideshare. It was always like tons and tons of cars out, right? And so for the part-timers, most of the part-time rideshare drivers, they're just weekend warriors, and they drive Friday and Saturday night, and that's really all they want to do. But for the full-timers, it was always you had to know the exact times to drive and all that stuff to really make it worth it. Now because of COVID, it's so overly saturated that there's just no jobs. I mean, there is some, of course. There's some drivers that's doing well always, but then there's the drivers that there's just not enough people to take around, right? So people can sitting around on the road and be doing nothing in like 2 hours or whatever. And so we talk about buckets a lot. It's always good to have an extra bucket of things to do while you're out there doing full-time gig. And it seems like you guys and DDI fits really well in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I think of this conversation and what's the gig economy mean, of course, people as a product that needs to be delivered are one of the things. You guys started with rideshare. I get that mentality, but then it's like, well, what else do we have? And that's the beauty of, the 1099 status, right? So in California supporting, the Prop 22 and the votes on this as well, that says, well, let's redefine gigs to ourselves. Let's redefine the last mile. So many brick and mortar businesses, not just because of COVID, but COVID has 100% accelerated the conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But so many brick and mortar businesses have been trying to solve, like, how do I get this to you, by buying products, whatever that product is, to you for a while now. Mm-hmm. And, maybe it was with Amazon as partners, but more and more people are like, how do I do this? I mean, what's the newest sector for us in the delivery space that we see a lot is convenience store delivery. Those those 3 words are now a thing. Whether it's 7-Eleven or Dollar General or GoPuff or these types of concepts, right? It's alcohol, it's a convenience store. And like, oh man, and here it is. Like our corner liquor markets have to figure out how to survive and bring us booze because we have to knock on something.
Yeah, the GoPuff was supposed to launch here in May this year in Grand Rapids, but then the pandemic happened and I haven't heard hide nor hair. But I saw that was going to come, and for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to do it because, my accountant hates me, man. I go when he sees all my 1099s, he's like, okay, another $25, another $25. Like I got like 10 of them. But I mean, just as a customer, I'm like, oh my gosh, and the prices weren't even that bad. I'm like, we're so lazy. I'm like,
I know those guys. It's a cool concept. They're really doing good stuff over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the point I'm getting at? Like as a gig worker, right? To just for your point, all right, it's slow. If we put ourselves, okay, I'm in rideshare. Maybe, maybe I'm with Uber, maybe I'm with Lyft, on both apps. Maybe I just like one and maybe I'm here. And I think the nature of us as gig workers, as 1099 drivers, has to be that we got to put ourselves out there for lots of gigs and say, oh, okay. And now I have the freedom to be like, no, thank you. No penalty. Can't fire me for saying no. Don't wrongfully terminate me for that because it's my right. I don't want that job. No, thanks. And I got this. So again, I have a list here in front of me and I'm like, it's grocery, it's people, it's prepared food, it's boxes, it's radios, it's whatever, and it's like, where do I sign up for all the gig apps? And so I think looking and considering that from a driver perspective, that way is a good way to look at it. And hopefully then you start to piece together the ones that work for you, your individual lifestyle, your schedules, delivering people to the airports in the morning and, foods to offices during the lunchtime.
So does DDI fit into that bucket where you are like when you're out on the road anyways, you can happen to pick up a DDI job? Does that work that way?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. We're not pinging our drivers live, like in that context. Here's a job, here's a job, here's a job. It's more about, we have partners in your area. We're helping you with these different programs, stuff like that.
Yep. And the partners might then ping you with a text message or whatever while they need it. Okay. Yep, we can get you integrated onto those apps faster, right? So if you're an approved driver on our platform, I've got your criminal background check. I've got your MVR already from whatever state's in there. Okay.
Now it's like, you would like to deliver groceries with Walmart? Like, whoop, like here it is. Like you're already approved. You're up in the app. It's that onboarding process can be ideally with an integrated partner of ours a little bit quicker.
So that now you just enter that other side of it, right? So then that's the service you're bringing to the partners who need something delivered is now you're doing all the background checks, you're doing all that stuff to making sure that the drivers that you're recommending to Walmart or whoever it is have been vetted. Yeah,
I didn't probably slow down and give you guys this just because we started talking, but
it's totally good.
The conversational sales pitch. But let me throw a couple bullet points at you. What the heck do we do at DDI, and even understanding where we fit in for both the driver partners and the businesses themselves, I think maybe can help. And in simple sense, let me keep it easy. We do a lot of onboarding, so we're already recruiting, screening, vetting, matching preferences, and the matching, and even onboarding documentation, contracts, all in the online platform makes it easy. But you guys alluded to, Jason, you talked about your account with all the different 1099. So we have a tax team to support the drivers, a 1099 payroll team on the front side of things, making sure we're doing all the payments and providing a lot of the fast products as well. Daily pay, instant pay, versus maybe running things out on a payroll cycle lags and stuff like that. So, and then, insurance products, risk management, all that. So ideally, when we're helping with all these, we have lots of different solutions that we can move everybody along faster. We're here for both sides. Really just making this whole gig economy. I want to be the oil in the gig economy engine, for the labor side.
I like that. That sounds really cool. You want to be the oil in the gig economy engine.
I never said that, actually. Write that down.
Verbal trademark.
I think Jesper got the trademark, so we're going to have to buy it.
It only $25,000. It's okay, Aaron.
Where'd I leave my checkbook? Yeah.
No, so you brought up insurance a couple of times. So obviously we all know, and I always talk about insurance because it's a hot topic for me. Rideshare drivers, you got to have the rider, right? No problem at all. That self-explanatory now. It wasn't 3 years ago, but now it is. So what kind are you talking about? Your standard run-of-the-mill commercial insurance for the drivers out there, or what are you talking about here? And who's responsible for holding that insurance?
That's a great question, because we got to talk about what piece of the puzzle. So I think, I've alluded to insurance as like a category, a bucket of work, as you would say, we need to talk about. But I think the real conversation is, to each answer is going to come which piece. Are we talking about injury, workers' comp, 1099 injury solution, something like that? Are we talking about automotive liability? Are we talking about, these different programs? And honestly, unfortunately, welcome to insurance, but each conversation very, very specifically is going to have a different answer. Who has to carry that? And Prop 22 recently changed that, right? In a lot of states, the driver would pay for a injury insurance program if you were a 1099, right? You don't have a workers' comp, but you get your own injury insurance solution. A couple bucks a week. We have those products. Those products are out there. Cool. But now Prop 22 says, well, if you're a 1099 driver partner here, those companies have to provide that. So the answer's changed. Already in California, the back part of the answer to your question is, well, the companies have to provide the injury insurance, but maybe in Michigan right now, they don't have those rules. So typically that's going to be provided by the driver themselves.
Michigan's weird, right? Because we have no fault.
Yeah, we're talking about the automotive side, yes.
Yeah, that adds a whole new wrinkle in all that thing. But
Michigan likes to be unique. I always like to say it. You guys love to just be like, I want my own version of that rule for anything.
I can't wait to completely kick that no fault insurance to the curb because it makes no sense at all. Yeah. But that's a different story.
Very expensive.
Yes. Yeah. So let's go back to John Doe, right? Let's look at the situation from John Doe again. He happens to be a friend, so it's good. So
I think I met him. Yeah.
You think so? So John Doe, he's out there. He's on the road. He drives for Uber and Lyft once in a while when he wants to. But then he also just picked up a gig for you, right? So you have him now delivering groceries from the local Walmart over here in a couple of different places. What kind of insurance does he need from you, and how does that work?
So that's a great question. My answer here, not trying to be too political, but it's all about the product, right?
Yep.
So what are we delivering? Am I delivering a human on this side, or am I delivering tacos?
Right. So in this case, it's Walmart, so it's probably products.
So in this case, but one more time, it might be a little bit different, right? Are we delivering groceries and food products that maybe have some these things associated with them, or is it general merchandise? Because they're both obviously different options, and I think that's an important distinction because Walmart also might have pharmaceuticals to be delivered. So our insurance, our screening, everything around the drivers is going to shift based on this. But let me give you a better answer. My real conversation to John Doe is going to, from an educational standpoint, I'm going to start with two big pieces of the conversation for me that we should ask good questions about. And if drivers are listening, I'm going to tell you guys and ladies out there, just ask questions around injury and automotive. Because we're drivers, first things first. So we got to understand what's the automotive scenario. Is my personal insurance going to kick in? Probably not. Do I need commercial limits? What are my responsibilities? What are my gig partners' responsibilities? Right. And I think that's an important piece. So automotive coverage, thoroughness, very important. The second thing is let's take care of ourselves, right? Always we're not here if there's not drivers out there listening, right, guys? So at the end of the day, let's make sure the injuries are taken care of, that we have a solution. You ask good questions. How much is that insurance cover? What does it actually cover? Do I have a deposit that I got to put against that, or these types of things. So these are the topical conversations I'm going to talk to John Doe about every time. Let's make sure we have all your questions answered.
I think you answered it really well by saying DDI will set it all up for John Doe, right? You will make sure John Doe has what he needs. And I think that's the most key thing, because John Doe he doesn't even know the right answers to ask. So it sounds to me like DDI is really going on here and really doing everything they can to protect John Doe in this case here. And they may ask you to pay a few extra dollars, but ultimately John Doe will be covered. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, and at the end of the day, ultimately John Doe hopefully can make that decision, right?
No, absolutely.
That's what it's all about, right? And so you're 100% right. What did I say earlier? 3 out of 4 drivers that contact us have never been a gig driver before these days. Because the demand is there, COVID's there, they're out of work, you name why. Maybe it's seasonality. But most drivers we talk to are new and slowing down and having resources for this, education for this. These questions is really, really where we start, And then from there, let us know how we can help, and we can maybe provide a solution here or there if you need it. Oh, you don't have the right injury solution. Here's one for you. Things like that. But at the end of the day, you're 100% right. I want to make sure everybody knows what you got to do.
Right.
Sounds good.
I think what people ask, though, is what is the cost? I know we kind of touched on it earlier. I'm sure you make most of your money with the partners that you refer, like Walmart and Best Buy and those kind of things. But if John Doe comes in and says, well, how much is it going to cost me for you to do your services? What is the answer to that?
Oh, again, we're really not charging the drivers any direct fees to do this work.
Okay.
If we're, the educational work, this content, this information, it's not that hard to create a bill of rights, create a couple of videos, put that information out there for the public. So the educational stuff is here. We will get paid on the back end, and we start seeing, incremental pieces, of per delivery fees and things like that on the backside. But it's that same type of relationship where you're going to get your gig fee and you're going to negotiate your percentage back to your brokerage partner on that.
So what
we get paid on the back.
Yeah. So who's paying that fee though? Is the driver paying that fee? The
No,
delivery
typically
fee?
Typically it's coming out of the business side of things to us.
Right.
Really. So if the driver gets engaged,
So Walmart pays you and you turn around and pay John Doe.
Yeah, we're processing everything along the way. So our job as the driver's HR partner is, think of it this way, guys. Whoever your gig partner is on the backside, is we're actually digitally sending the invoices for our driver partner's behalf. So we're saying, hey, gig partner, my driver partner, hey, company, my driver partner, Jesper, did 10 jobs yesterday, and each job was worth $100. So I need his $1,000. We send him the invoice. We take it. We itemize all the expenses, whatever the drivers have in there. If you paid a fee, brokerage fee to them, we itemize that for your taxes so you can write it off. If you bought insurance along the way, we obviously deduct that, itemize that for you, and keep your statements all digitally. You can log into our app and get it there.
Okay, but if someone's just a driver for Uber, that you're only going to offer the educational part, or what about taxes?
And referral services, 100%, because I know gig drivers out there. Right off the bat, and let's not underestimate that, right? It's like, hey, you're in Grand Rapids, give us a call. Go right into the website, put your zip code in, we'll start taking a look at what's in there.
Yeah, because the biggest thing that I think it comes up with drivers is taxes. We actually finally sold a sponsorship for a tax accountant this year, and it just never stops. January 1st till like the end of the tax season, it's like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do that? So I think the tax part could be a game changer for a lot of drivers.
And here's my advice to the audience is get ahead of that. To Jason's point, it's confusing. It's crazy. If you haven't done it, like three of us have lived it for a while, I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
But not everybody has. And so get out there, and our content's there now. Again, ddiwork.com. Go out there and look at find our YouTube channel. Listen to, my partner talk about taxes, and, we'll bore you to death for an hour on how to file your, Schedule C's and Schedule SCs. It'll be great.
It'll be great, he says. The famous last words. So obviously, the question that everybody's gonna ask, and they always will, they always end with, well, how much is John Doe gonna make an hour? That's the last question, right? So now he's driving for you. He's delivering groceries, whatever he's doing. What is he making an hour?
That's a great question. I never get asked that question these days. Of course, it's going to depend on what we're running, right? Are you delivering pharmaceuticals? Are you delivering like business, automotive products over here, where maybe the economics are pretty good, and you don't do that? Or are you running like high volume jobs over here? My answer is this: one of our roles at DDI is to make sure we're looking out for everybody. Minimum wage is going to be one of the first things we're always regularly cross-referencing for everybody's benefit. Okay. Hey, are you making this much? Are you not? And obviously with Prop 22 in California, that's just going to serve us well, because now we can make sure if you come up short, we'll invoice your partner the difference for your minimum wage plus 20% for your time on in California, because we have the tools to do that, right? So these types of things become really important.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think that covers most of what I had. I was actually thinking, so behind the scenes, Aaron, I'm not sure you know this or not, but we actually have a pretty effective, well, I guess it's a glorified chat room, if you will, where we have at any given time, we have about 60 drivers, active and talking and so forth. And one of the drivers actually came to mind. I'm not going to mention him by name, but I think he might be doing something like that. Maybe not DDI, but it's a regular delivery job where I think he's still a contract worker, and so I think this fits this model pretty well. But again, I can't be sure, of course. But this is really cool. I think what you built. How long have you been working on this?
Well, we've been in business since 1996, actually. So yeah, will be heading into year 25. We really started in the restaurant delivery space. A lot of the, helped build the third-party restaurant delivery, built the DoorDash and Grubhubs of the world before there was DoorDash and Grubhubs of the world. So really 1099 networks in the delivery space and food is where we came up in the 90s. That was kind of our first 1099 kind of niche, if you will. But these days we support driver networks of all kinds. And enterprise partners to, mom and pop level businesses. And, a lot of drivers actually that want to start their own business, their own, career company. They've been running independent for a while. They're like, man, I got a network of 12 guys now, and I want to broker all the jobs and run my own little career company. And we've helped so many of them, run their 1099 programs for them behind it. Just want to be that HR partner. So we have a really scalable program. So yeah, that was a long way to say 25 years, started in restaurants. Now we do everything.
Yeah, I did see that on your website that you do help people that have that small business, that HR part, because that's tough as like a business owner, especially when you're small. You're like, there is no HR. Like this, it's me.
Right. Oh my gosh! Like I give me I have yet to meet a client of mine, like a business in particular, that has gotten into business to, learn how to do payroll.
Right.
or much less 1099 payroll versus W-2 payroll, the nuances of that. Like, no, we all got in business because this is what we do and this is what we do. Well, actually, everybody except for DDI, because that's why we exist.
Well,
we're the crazy ones, yeah.
So. Right.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, Aaron, thank you so much. Is there any parting words? Like, where would you like people to go? Obviously, DDI.com, but
DDIwork.com.
Oh, yes.
There's that. You guys can find me as well. The name's on the screen. It's Aaron Hageman. Reach out to me individually on LinkedIn. Always happy to engage in conversations, chat that way. I got a pretty strong network there. But yeah, hit the website and come find us and engage in the conversation with me or anybody at the company. And we're happy to dig into whatever interests you, really, because there's a lot of different topics. And I think at the end of the day, listening to our conversations, it becomes what's really important to us. So we're here to help dig into those.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sign up. I think I'll give you all a call tomorrow or Friday. I looked at the sign up. It says if you're looking to call. So would you recommend people call?
No. You know what I'll do is with you guys, I'll give you guys the bat line, right? So you guys are my boys now. So no, we'll follow up and actually, what would be cool is we'll take you through the process. I'd love to even walk you through and get you guys feedback on it. You guys drivers there.
Yeah, because then we can tell people, hey, this is how it works. This is
take it to the public. Yeah.
Right. And that's one reason why, these new apps that we're interviewing is just give it to our Patreon to say, hey, get signed up if you're interested first before it goes out to other people. I mean, not that that's a super advantage, but we like to offer that to them. So we appreciate the time, and we will let you know when this comes out. It'll probably be sometime in December, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no worries on that. Happy to help. Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
All right.
Yeah, be well.
Bye.
It's good to meet you.
Thanks. See ya. Bye-bye.